You know how in Dragon Ball Z Kai, where they edit out all the boring bullshit and just give you the punches? Well, that was sort of how this show has been as of late. The protagonist had a couple inconsequential run-ins, and now we're back to the good stuff, and I just didn't even bother covering it because it was just so banal. And this week we're back with the vengeance. We have the King of Funny with us here to try to take a victory lap. King of Funny, you're currently leading the division. I'm a game behind you with AB and good old Rampy way back. So what do you think about that?
Well, even as confident as I have been feeling, it's still anyone's race, and there's a lot of season left, and I face you 2 more times.
It's anyone's race.
So I did. Well, between me and you, I mean, that's obvious. It's a 2-man race between us. That's what I mean.
Okay.
But I do feel pretty confident. Got that one game that I've already beat if it comes to a tiebreaker, even though we do have 2 more to play. So I don't know. I'm feeling good though.
Okay.
Feeling good on a morning.
I think a couple of the things worth noting are that in that middle division, Spencer, even though it's one game, he's really taken a commanding lead of it. And Cgauch is basically just whinging and crybabying nonstop. He's just frankly...
Yeah, we got to talk quickly about Christian in the league chat.
Oh, it's just...
already giving up and, wailing away and crying.
All I can think of is
where's that ego?
Yeah, the Olivia Soprano quote. "Oh, poor you, Mr. Draft high-risk players, high-injury players every single season. Thump his chest for 6 fucking weeks straight without a drop of creativity. Now they get hurt. Oh, I don't know, guys. I might just have to drop out like Eric Swallowwell. I've lost a couple in a row. Oh, boo-hoo. Poor you. Give me a break, Cgauch. This guy's completely focused on relegations. He's looking for an excuse to give up. His team is turning into the Velocity Esports of this league, which, if you don't know, that's the League of Legends team that held the lowest winning percentage record for years. They got relegated.
Could say his team is turning into the X set.
Oh, rim shot. In all seriousness, though, I hope he wins his relegation and gets to stay in Pro League. What do you think?
Same.
What do you think about Aaron's team and Aaron's performance this year? I see you roasting him down here, and Weston jumping in. Anytime you can get Weston to jump in to a bit of a roast, it's a great sign because Weston's such a nice guy. He doesn't even like to be mean to people as a joke.
Yeah, you love to see it. You love to see it even whenever you know it's bad. Whenever Weston has to chime in, giving his 2 cents, which is always appreciative because he is a nice guy. So it's something when he chimes in.
Do you think that Aaron's performance this season is sort of bad luck? If we take a look, at his team,
no,
you think this is Aaron defrauded?
I'm about 200 points up. I've scored more than him, and it's 10 weeks in. So yeah, I would say it's more than bad luck. I would just say it's just a bad team.
Would you say that this is Aaron embarrassed, or is this just like a fluke thing? If you had to
No, I would say it's embarrassed.
Okay.
His first year in a new division, on a week, the one that we say was the weakest, it was. And, I mean, the fact that he's trying to keep pace with AB, a second-year owner, can't even, his lineups week to week. He has to use Pat McAfee information, to his team.
Rim shot!
If there was an optimized button that said McAfee, on
the Caster Snickers optimized button, now brought to you by the Pat McAfee Show. AB's hitting that shit so hard.
No ads though. No ads.
No ads. I love how AB's idea of banter is to lurch from one Pat McAfee Show talking point to another with extreme speed.
The NFL waiver wire is really decimated.
Spencer's like, you mean the free agent, like in fantasy? He's like, no, the real life NFL waiver wire. Isn't it like every year where there's some washed up guys like AP willing to take a pay cut and give it one last shot, and then if anything, I think it's better than it's been in years because there were those other leagues. Because you had like
Yeah,
the
and there was
AF and
COVID.
yeah,
There was players that didn't play.
and the XFL to give those guys a chance to shine. And now
Yeah,
and
there's plenty of
look at the Panthers
plenty of
look at the Panthers quarterback Walker. This was a guy that was really good in the XFL, and like his NFL job was
Taylor
predicated on
Heineke was his backup, and now he's starting for the Redskins.
What do you think about
Hi-
this? This top division is very tight too, with the top team at 6-4. Like Jackson and Weston actually they're at the bottom, but I think it's safe to say like Lily and Kevin look a lot weaker than Jackson and Weston, and they're close enough where you got to think like Jackson or Weston is still going to win that division. So, what are some of your vibes about that division?
I honestly still have my eye on Weston to win it. I mean, today's a big matchup for me and for Clap4 as we play each other, and that could go a long way for helping Weston out as he helped me out by beating you last week. But I really do like Weston to take Lily just based off of management alone. And I mean, if you look at those points for, I mean, he's outscored Lily by about 130 points. So I think his team is the better team. When you look for like his Clap4, it's pretty even as well, except for Clap4 literally faced about like 70 points different against like West faced a lot tougher matchups, and Clap4 took an advantage of what he's gotten, obviously, but I don't think that it'll be between him and Clinton. I still have faith in him.
All right. We can jump into a little bit of matchup preview. We can do quick hits on these. We don't need to get down and dirty necessarily so much. So let's talk about the Cowboys and Chiefs matchup. Obviously, at the beginning of the year, this was one of those matchups where everyone was saying, okay, this is just a straight up loss for our Cowboys. Mark it down. The boys are going to lose this one.
Because you want to center yourself.
Oh, a little bit of queer eye there for Spencer. Spencer, that one's for you, buddy. Williams, excuse me. I think he's due for a big day. I think the Cowboys' defense is a little bit overrated. What do you think about this matchup, Ben?
Which one was it again? I'm sorry.
The Cowboys and Chiefs.
Oh, okay. I was looking at that earlier, and I thought it was an interesting game because the Cowboys the past 2 weeks blown out. I forgot who they played last week. They blew out that team, and then the week before they got blown out by the Falcons, or vice versa. I don't know which one it was, but I know 2 weeks they've just like had like complete opposite, like Jekyll and Hyde offenses. So it's gonna be interesting to see what Cowboys team shows up today, especially against the Chiefs team that has really been underperforming.
Yeah, the Cowboys embarrassed the Falcons is what you're thinking of. They beat the Falcons.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I mean it'll be interesting to see how the Chiefs do too. I mean, because one, they need it for their playoff race, but two, they've just all looked pretty. Like the Chiefs have the past few years at all, and they've been really turnover prone. The Cowboys defense under Dwayne has kind of been revamped. Diggs is going. Players that like were just mediocre have been putting up insane numbers on that defense. So we'll see how that Chiefs offense performs against the Cowboys. But honestly, it's a coin flip for me.
Yeah, I think this game is way closer than a lot of people thought it would be going into the season. I also think the defining part of the Cowboys defense, the addition of Micah Parsons and Diggs. Diggs, of course, is a ball hawk, leads the league in interceptions. Parsons is just a complete sideline-to-sideline guy. He has a lot of speed, and I think it sort of takes a lot of the pressure off of Van Der Esch. And when I look at this game against Jackson, two things stick out. The Spencer Doppelganger, Mac Jones underperformed, and Saquon Barkley is questionable, and he has a Monday night game, and I'm really flipping that coin going into that game. So I think Jackson's favored here, and it looks good for you.
Oh yeah, I mean, after that Monday night performance, that Thursday night performance by Mac Jones, it's a good start to the whole week for me because of that, and as we'll see in a second, Kevin did terrible on his Thursday night performances. So a good Thursday night for me. I'm excited to see what the matchup turns out.
Yeah, we can look at that right now. We can see Kyle Pitts, of course, did nothing. Younghoe Koo hit a kick. They had a retarded penalty. It went back a little. It was like, oh, now he's kicking for 50, which is, of course, like the point threshold for the most a kicker can get. I wonder if Kevin can add like custom settings for like plus 60 yards and it's even more points. Because a lot of that stuff is static, but a lot of it you can like monkey with. But anyway, like, yeah, it went about as good for you as it could have been. And the hammer blows continue to fall for your loyal protagonist and host. This is just brutal. I mean, even though you do have the questions with Gronk and Lamar, I have a feeling one or both will play. I'm definitely edging towards that, even though they have the dreaded Q by their name. And this isn't like my situation where like my guy was questionable is a guy who plays on Monday night. You guys are questionable on Sunday, you can manage around it.
It's unfortunate. My favorite letter Q is so hated amongst the fantasy football community.
That is definitely a great point. The letter Q, your favorite letter. I didn't know that. So
It's my favorite.
Is Tyreek Hill going to have a bad game or a good game? Because there's no in between with this guy. They're going to have Diggs on him, presumably.
I think he's going to have a good game. I'm not going to say that he's going to dominate the Cowboys defense, but I think he's going to have probably a big play. So I think it's going to be a high scoring game.
Over under 15 fantasy points for Hill.
I'll say over 15.
All right, taking the over. I think if Gronk plays, he's going to have a big day against the Giants because the Bucks got embarrassed last week. They're going to come out and just raffle stomp the Giants. I think the chance of like Brady and Arians coming out flaccid against the terrible Giants is very low. If you had to sort of speak about that game at large and like what you think about the Bucks going into this week after looking awful last week, like what do you think about the Bucks?
I mean, they're definitely on like the downtrend right now, just because of their last few performances. But I still have faith. They have a lot of talent on that team. They've had a lot of. I mean, Gronk's been out, one of the best like red zone options for Brady. The run game is like pretty average, so below average when it comes to the red zone. So, and Brady's struggled these past years. So I still have faith in the Bucks, though. Like a high ceiling compared to a lot of other teams. Especially in that division there. So
I think that any bad performances are sort of an aberration, very similar to the Rams. I think you can, obviously, you can pencil in a couple weird losses for NFL teams. It's when they start stacking up losses or looking listless, so that's why the Bucks really need to right the ship here. And I think in general, the Bucks are a very consistent team, just like the Rams. I expect all those teams to make deep playoff runs, and I think the Bills are actually going to win the AFC. Who do you think is going to win the AFC?
Honestly, I don't have like a strong choice, but I would probably have to say the Bills based on their defense alone. It honestly just comes up to Josh Allen not fumbling the ball 3 times a game.
Or trying to pitch it like it's NFL Street.
What's up, racist?
Oh, Spencer, recording TWIF. This is perfect. You can give us your quick hits as we're sort of entering the last few matchups of the episode, and I'm glad you chose that intro and not another one I would have to edit out. So right now we're talking about Ben and Clap 4. Would you like to give us a matchup prediction on that one?
Ben and Clap 4?
Yeah.
I honestly haven't looked.
Well,
I do know that Ben has a little headwinds this week. Looks like Lamar's feeling real sicky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin
and Gronk got downgraded from a full week of practice to question Saturday.
Surely he's gonna play. Like it's been so long.
Yeah.
Like there's just no way. Like I had a broken rib once, and it was real bad for like a couple weeks. But like by about, it still hurt. It still hurt, but like it was like I played through it. Like especially without substances,
Texas had 2 like straight seasons where our quarterback has broken their rib and played through it. So like, I mean, like, it's like completely doable, but I guess they're just being cautious, or it's worse than we know. But I surely hope he plays because be the first time. He did play that one time traded for him, but he literally like played 3 plays and they took him out. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
This is a surefire win for Ben.
Well,
yeah.
you say that. He does have
I don't
JT.
know. I don't know, man. Like,
Yeah, I'm with Spencer. Especially if
I
I
don't
don't do
get.
good.
I don't. I mean,
Is
he
that Monday?
lost Brown. He lost Jackson. He's got a good set of running backs, but
He has tight end and kicker locked in for 3 already, though.
I mean, Fournette and Taylor, I think are both just as good as Mixon and Connor, and have way more upside.
I
Evans
agree
and
for
Smith
that.
are both pretty comparable to Hill and Higgins combined. If Gronk doesn't play, he doesn't really have another option with Henry already playing. So like that could be a predicament. I'd say it's like very close to a flip with maybe Ben slightly favored.
Okay. Can we get an official points prediction out of both of you before we move on?
I'll say like 190. Me. Even though I
think this is like somewhat low scoring. I think it's like an 82 to 86 with Ben winning.
I'm taking the King of Funny 88 to 78.
Sounds like another Monday night or a heart attack for me.
All right,
especially with not knowing if Gronk's starting or not.
Let's move on to one of those.
Jackson is out. I just got Twitter notification.
Oh.
Tyler Huntley's getting this started.
Breaking late news brought to you by Spencer, the man with the numbers and the hard news. Thank you, Spencer. Improving the show within 5 minutes of being here, and you love to hear that. I'm officially knocking 5 points off of my Ben prediction.
Yeah, I think that's about right. Now I have Clap 4 probably winning, going the other way.
You love to see that. A little bit of spice in our division, eh, King of Funny?
Well, I'm going to be inactive for the next couple of minutes, looking for a quarterback replacement.
I mean, you don't have a lot of options.
Yeah, why don't you just talk us through that? It's not like anyone's going to cock block you for it. I'll do it with you. Wincy, Bridgewater, Heineke.
Wentz, Matt Ryan, who I already started earlier this year.
You got to go with Tua, surely.
Yeah, they're playing the Jets, for Christ's sake.
Man.
You start Big Ben.
No, I'll start Tua.
I would start Cam, but like there's like a lot of reports about PJ Walker splitting time.
Cowboy.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Is Kyler Murray out? You could start Cowboy Colt. Or Case Keenum on the Browns. Come on, Ben. Trey Lance.
That's a perfect example of what they call a bridge too far.
Yeah, I know. I want him to do that as my division rival. That's why I'm pushing for these things. You know, Trevor Simeon's really talented.
What is sort of odd is Wentz is like projected so low against the Bills.
Great defense.
I was thinking the same thing.
How many do you think he'll score, Spence? Over under 17?
Right below, like 16 to 17 was sort of my mental.
Okay.
I bet if you looked at the props, that's what his implied scoring would be.
I'm glad I'm coming up with these off the top, so I'm glad they're somewhat accurate.
I don't know. Do I want to start Wentz or Tua? Because the Jets' like pass defense honestly isn't as bad as the run defense.
I mean, I would start Tua, but
I would start Simeon.
But,
no, shut the fuck up.
While he's basically trolling, so I would stay.
You know, You know who's the best offensive player of all time in NFL history? Trey Lance.
I mean, like if you sort of think about it, like yes, it looks like his starts are spotty, but basically in any game he's played the full game, he's had a floor of like 15 points. You know what I mean? Tua has. Like last week, he came in at halftime because Brissett got hurt and still got 12. So like if he has a full game against the Jets, like surely you have to have him as a floor of like 15, with the potential to have like 25, versus like I don't know. It's very close between him and Wentz, but like I feel like the Bills are like a pretty good defense, and like that could be tough.
Yeah.
Your floor is lower in that situation, basically.
That's fair.
So what's it going to be?
I already picked up Tua. So
all right, Tua it is. We can move on. What do y'all think about Aaron versus Billy? Billy's already put up a hefty load at 43 with the Pats special teams. Do you think Aaron has any chance?
No, Aaron is dead.
What do you think about Aaron's talent level, Spence? Because basically, Ben was calling fraud earlier and saying that Aaron was not very talented. What do you think? Is that a fair statement, or is that a bridge too far, like Trevor Siemian?
I think he's like not bad, but I think that he makes a lot of small mistakes that add up every year. Sort of like I think the quintessential like Aaron move is the drafting of Kamara, and then like for the first 4 weeks when everyone knew Kamara would be remember that year he was like, oh, Kamara number 2 overall, I'm so smart.
Yes.
And then like Ingram came back as like everyone knew he would.
Except Aaron apparently.
And then like it turned into like a good timeshare basically with Kamara, and like he didn't break like 20 the rest of the season after having 30 the first 4 weeks. So like that's sort of a quintessential Aaron move. It's like it's not like the most practical or smart thing. It's just sort of like making a move to like cute. When in reality, fantasy football, in my opinion, being good at it is sort of just a series of small, uncute decisions that add up over time.
So it's
Let's put it this way: his best transaction of all time was drafting Aaron Hernandez. So when he was in prison.
So basically, Spencer, your philosophy on fantasy football is the opposite of your StarCraft philosophy. In fantasy football, you take a lot of little smart edges. And Aaron's like trying to be cute.
Basically.
Do you think Aaron has even a small chance at the wild card?
No, I think he's dead. What's been happening, Aaron probably didn't even know this, but like I've known it for a couple of weeks now. A.J. Dillon has been slowly creeping into that backfield, and it's been turning into a timeshare. So even when Aaron Jones is healthy, his upside was very capped, because he was working into a timeshare. I would say it's not quite Hunt and what's his face, but it was like moving in that direction. I sort of saw it every week. So that sort of means the value of Jones was falling off, and his team really isn't in a position to like take that sort of hit.
So you were fading him regardless. Basically.
Yeah, I mean, like, when someone's number one player is, like, slowly deteriorating in value, like, what he should have done is he should have shopped Aaron Jones and, like, tried to get something back, like, before other people realized the A.J. Dillon thing.
I sent him trades for Aaron Jones.
Yeah,
Aaron Jones destroyed me earlier this year, too.
It was like Lockett and Scary Terry for Aaron Jones.
But he doesn't need more wide receiver help, so, like, there's no reason to accept that. Like what he should have been looking for, like maybe Clap 4. I know Clap 4 would never trade, but like a Clap 4 trade for like Jonathan Taylor or something.
It's a good idea.
Or even Fournette and like another guy, like Fournette and Pollard maybe like wouldn't have been a bad trade. In retrospect, since I don't think Fournette and Aaron Jones are at the same level, but like the sweetener, it sort of makes sense, and like it goes back to like the stereotypical like Aaron needs depth for talent and he needs to take some risks, and like
he never does.
He just never or he does when it's too late. Like he's already drawing dead. Like when you're gonna like up your risk profile, like you have to do it like well you still have time for like your bets to play out, not like when you're basically drawing 5% to like make the playoff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So speaking of people that are drawing 5% to make the playoffs, what do y'all think about AB's team? And he basically has to beat Lily this week to even have a prayer. Like, can he do that? Because Lily's looked really weak as of late.
Well, I still stand by what I know y'all are going to probably disagree with. I think that my trade has made AB's team better, in addition to upping his risk profile. And I think he's like drawing pretty live against Lily, to be honest.
Agreed.
Like,
I think he can. I think he's actually favored in my.
yeah,
eyes.
I was about to say that. I was still contemplating before I said that, but yeah, she's got no running backs, basically. No wide receivers. Hawkinson's really fallen off because they need him to block. Yeah, this is. I think you have to have Austin reasonably favored here. Jacobs and Swift are both like decent, consistent backs. Moore and Renfro, decent, consistent wide receivers. Kittle looked great last week, and I expect him to continue being great this week now that he's not banged up. AJ Green's in an excellent spot. Like, Carr's serviceable. Like, this is not a bad team. Like,
Agreed. I actually give the edge to AB 85 to 75.
Yeah, I'll say like 90-80 in AB's favor.
holy shit. Yeah, I think it's 70 or 80 probably.
I think Moore will have over 15 as well. Actually, no, I retract that statement.
The issue is just like you have a combination of like PJ Walker and fucking Cam.
Yeah, I was
It's like no one knows like what that's gonna look like.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I took it back. I think Kittle will have a good game though.
Yeah, I'm really high on Kittle. He just looked really good last week.
I don't know. I just still have doubts about that pass offense, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, when Garoppolo is under center, I think that's like a big boon for Kittle.
It's like the way Kittle's performed, the way that y'all vetoed the trade earlier this year is just like, yeah, I don't know. Y'all are like, who's the number 2 tight end?
Yeah, you can stop crying. You can stop crying.
Yeah.
I'm not crying. I'm not crying because it helped
Yes,
me
you
out.
are. You are crying.
No,
Yeah, you are.
no, I'm not crying.
So yeah, basically,
saying that I have all the
with
projections
Garoppolo
of how
under
y'all are
center
gonna be.
instead of like the best rookie quarterback of the class, Trey Lance. I would say that like, you know, Trey Lance, most of his value that makes him the best rookie of the class is just running. Versus Garoppolo is a better passer.
You're done.
They should start running 2 quarterback formations with those guys, both in the backfield, and like who knows who will get the ball. It'll be God tier. Sort of like a quarterback controversy in real time. They should also mix in more triple reverses. Alright, speaking of Cameron and Ted Lasso here, Cam's had a couple huge upsets despite the fact that he's starting people on bye. Here we are doing the show right before kickoff. He's got the Rams defense still in there. Can Cam get another win for starting people on bye and looking clueless?
What's definitely not, but like what's so astounding about Cameron this year is his management has been about the lowest like tier you can expect of anyone.
Yeah.
And somehow he's still 500. Like, imagine if he'd actually been actively playing players and like not even picking up just like picking up guys. Like he basically has picked up 2 people all year. Shit, he had Cook benched for 2 weeks after he came back from injury. Like, it's just like comical.
So is he going to be able to pull it out this week?
I mean, probably not.
I don't think so.
No Fried, even though he's got some key buys, is still looking strong. I hope Cameron pulls it out.
Same.
The fact that he's 5-5 with like what you just said about his like ownership and management, and like Austin and Aaron are still 2 games below him.
That's awful.
Well,
Yeah.
to be fair, like when you look at points scored,
I agree.
Like
it is.
I don't
it makes
know.
it makes it seem a lot better.
He's been very lucky, I think. His opponents, it's like he's just gotten just enough to beat them. But I mean, shoot, so have I. So like, who's to say?
Yeah, those are just a couple of outliers, though.
Couple of outliers.
Great. That's one of like, I feel like sometimes if you have the name, it almost gives your team like a little bit of a better chance to like make the Super Bowl. Like if you already have a good team, and the team name is good, like, oh, that one's gonna go down in history. Well,
what's sort of funny is the last year or two, I've felt that like I'm the one who's getting just like the best team and like the second most scoring, but then I'll play the most scoring team. So it does feel good to like theoretically like that shouldn't happen forever. So it does feel good to like have things finally
have a
like
couple of outliers.
Yeah, well, not to have the outliers, but to have a mean performance, Ben. That like we had the outliers last year. Ben, now we're back to the mean.
Ben, you silly goose. The 2 losing seasons were the couple of outliers. That's where the joke is based off of.
Okay.
Out of 10 years,
yeah,
winning.
2 losing season. It's just a couple of outliers, and he's proven that to be the case this season. So it's like Spencer's revenge tour. I just wish he was lighting Cgauch up on the boards every week.
I mean, like, when someone is that braggadocious and then like has that much like stuff hit him, like what are you gonna say?
I got 2 letters for you. EZ. You might be familiar with them.
Fair.
Yeah,
fair.
Who would have someone with that much workload like Derrick Henry would finally get hurt?
I know.
And a running guy like Kyler Murray doing these like high risk plays and these big scrambles.
To be fair, Murray had been pretty durable to that point. But yeah, the Henry thing had me scared shitless. I mean, he's averaged like 30 or 40% more touches than every other running back in the league for like 2 years. Like,
yeah,
it was just a matter of time. I honestly thought he was like built different. Like he had not stayed healthy so long, I started to like lose the injury narrative. It turns out like that was stupid, but.
Well, before
what it is.
Before we go, we have to talk about the best matchup of this freaking week, and that's Spencer and the Cgauch. Like, what are your thoughts here, Spence?
Would have been a better matchup, I guess, if you had Henry and Carson healthy. Yeah, not too much to talk about. I mean, I should beat him pretty handily, I would say, even without Kamara and Ridley. I mean, even if he did have his guys back, it wouldn't have been as impactful as it would seem, since I've already beat him twice this year, and I have the tiebreaker for like he has to basically make 2 games up to like win the division. So. Even if he wins this week and everything goes wrong for me, I'll still be winning the division. He has to like make up another game before the season's over.
So what you're saying is, stay easy, son. That's essentially what you're saying, is it not?
I'm saying he's still alive for a wild card, but I think it's a very uphill battle for him to like make a divisional run at this point, just the way things are shaping out. I think Mark might have the tiebreaker on him too. I haven't actually checked. But
couldn't have happened to a better guy, to be hit with all those injuries.
No, yeah.
Real humble and creative in his banter, too.
like a gorilla.
Yeah, so I'd probably have myself favored maybe 80%, 20% this week.
And the point spread?
I don't even think it's close.
And the point spread and a guarantee of victory, perhaps?
What's interesting here is Murray's questionable. They might start Colt McCoy.
Cowboy Colt.
So it's like, what is he going to do? Like, Ben just took up the best streaming quarterback.
Yeah, he'll probably crybaby about it, I think. That's probably what he'll do.
Oh, if he starts Cam Newton and it's like a timeshare, that'd be pretty funny.
Yes, it would. All right, so
okay, hypothetical. Look, get off topic here. What do you think about Cam Newton lining up as a running back for the Panthers?
Like it better than him lining up as a quarterback.
Has a better chance of scoring in the red zone than McCaffrey sometimes.
I made a joke.
He's going right up the middle.
I made a joke about the 2 quarterback sets earlier, but unironically having like Walker and Cam like in at the same time, even if like Walker lines up at wideout or something, like as bad as the Panthers have looked in the last 5 or 6 weeks, I think like having a few gadget plays like that is okay, because like quarterback by committee never works. So if you have like Cam's like obviously a better runner than he is a thrower, why not like line him up at tight end or like slot once, just as like a wrinkle? I think it's better than just like sharing drives.
I agree.
They should just give the starting job to XFL superstar PJ Walker.
I would rather them do that. Like when they signed Cam, I was really upset. I do not like Cam Newton. And I think you're going to
Did you see the tweet from like the owner's house with Kim and Cam?
I don't think so.
I'm going to post it in a second. But yeah, y'all can keep going.
100-75, Spencer. Let's hear a prediction, Ben, so we can get this one uploaded before the game start.
I'll go 110-60.
Ooh, Abby.
95-7.
Okay. With that, the episode concludes. Thank you, King of Funny and the man with the numbers.